Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
As part of a small line of pieces we're doing that are kind of pin-up-y type shots, where they're a little bit rougher and simpler with just a portrait of a figure, no background, I want to do something to complement the piece I did earlier with Wonder Woman. And Starfire is another favorite of mine from DC, and in particular the way she was designed by George Perez, the way she appeared for, I want to say, the first 20 years of her existence before she was changed by a cartoon version that kind of took away a lot of the alluring qualities to her that were in her initial DNA. So there's a very distinctive face, hairstyle, and vibe from her when she was first created in 1980, and I wanted to connect with that.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's time again for a brand new week of Word Balloon Live. John Suntress here. Look who's back. The co-creator of November and a fine artist that keeps blowing our minds with every new project. It's Elsa Charretier. Great to see you, Elsa. Welcome back.
Hi, John.
Hey, I've been enjoying your YouTube channel, and I was just telling you off the air. My God, they are such well-produced videos that are both critiques and commentary on classic stories and storytelling, but also it's process heavy in the best way. And I think it's great that you're examining both arts and storytelling and all the aspects of the visual side of comics. But also, as I was telling you, you just did a great interview with Ed Brubaker about his latest Reckless book, and really got into the writing side as well. It's terrific. It's a great channel.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you so much. We've been hard at work on this for many, many months, and so it's nice to finally have it out and out for everyone to see.
Are we still having a delay issue with the microphone?
Yeah, a bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can hear you right now as you're speaking, but there's like a delay. I can hear us like a few seconds behind.
Okay, well then let me adjust. Maybe my volume will help if I decrease the speaker. I'm using an external speaker. That might be why. Is this better now?
Yeah. Not really, but don't worry.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm so sorry, buddy. We'll muddle through, I guess. I mean, I understand. Really, you've been very upfront with your process, and as you learn comics, you've really, allowed your readers to kind of come along the ride and learn with you. And I think it's great that you're doing these very specific videos where you're breaking down storytelling.
Well, thank you so much. I think it's something that I've been very interested in for a long time, hence the art books that I did for my different Kickstarter campaigns. And I don't know, it's just something that as an artist, I am interested in process of others, or other artists' process, but also mine, because I think that when you break down your own work, it helps you understand better why you do things and how to improve. But that's the basic idea. But also, I think that Pierrick, who is doing the channel with me, who's handling the lighting, the directing, the everything that allows me to be able to stand in front of a mic and talk. And so we love challenges. We love to surprise ourselves. We love to learn and try new things. So the channel is a great way for us to just have fun.
Well, clearly, people are responding. You've got, thousands of subscribers, and I see that your videos are getting even larger views, and that's wonderful. And of course, you have just are you in the middle of a new Kickstarter campaign for a new art book? You just started it last week, right?
Oh no, I we did the fulfilling for last October's campaign. Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
see.
it's been over for well since October or November, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
And since then, I've put the books together. Matt Fraction, who's doing a commentary edition of our book November, did his part, and so it's been it's been a huge amount of work, but a lot of fun. And we're coming to the end right now with send out every packages, and the things are coming back to normal, or sort of
Good.
normal finally.
Well, and you have a Patreon page as well.
Yeah, yeah, we do too as a way to support the channel, because our idea is not to make money out of what we're doing on YouTube, not at all. But we have some expenses related to it, like the translations that we're doing for French viewers, and some of the things that ultimately we'd like to be able to not do ourselves and kind of hire some other people to do maybe some of the editing and some of the stuff that
Sure.
that would allow us to create the actual content. So the Patreon definitely would help with that, and we have many different goals in the future. But right now, where we're at, first of all, I'm very surprised that it started off kind of great. I was expecting for it to take much longer. But it started off great, and we have lots of, I think, perks that are interesting. We try to work on that a lot. We have exclusive mini prints. It seems that this is working especially well. And we'll have talk with creators, and lots of perks. And it's another avenue to be creative.
Indeed, and truly, I'm so glad you're doing this. And again, I know, in your immediate circle of comic book friends, we share a lot of mutual friends, and I think it will be great. It's wonderful that creators are doing this, because I'm a layman and I don't have the language to speak to storytelling with the command that yourself and other artists and writers can. And I really think that there are a lot of aspiring creators that would appreciate the level of detail that you go into about process, and truly also just the simple idea of clarity in the storytelling. And I loved how you broke down Batman Year One in particular, and you were talking about Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli, and even to the minutia of using gutters and separation of panels, combined with the panels that do just bleed into each other. And again, it's the kind of small little detail that I would never think of, but it makes perfect sense. And you really very clearly, and I may add, forgive me, but in a second language, explain these details and stuff. And truly, you really do a great job, and I am in awe of your presentations.
Well, thank you so much. That really means a lot. It's hard. It's really not easy. The whole process is really hard. The breaking down of the page and coming to an understanding myself why it works, because it is not, when I pick up a book and then I read it, thankfully I can still be a reader and not see everything behind the page and behind the art. So I have to make that effort myself and actually think about it when we're putting together the videos. And many of the things that I'm talking about on the case studies that we did so far are things that I discovered because I sat down and actually studied them. So I think that I'm absolutely sure that I am going to learn many things myself from those videos. And if, of course, it resonates with either fans who are happy to understand why this book is their favorite books, now they can say, oh, okay, I understand why I like this artist and why this artist maybe has work that is less efficient, you know. And for artists, young or older, who want to improve, who don't maybe have the keys to improve and don't really know where to start. So hopefully it will resonate with all those people. Yeah.
I think so, and I also think, am I correct? Let's go back. You never had formal training as an artist, did you?
I didn't, but you know, many artists didn't either. I think it's one of those fields that you can just, if you put your mind to it and the hours in, you don't really need a school. If you're the type of personality that don't have problems getting to work by yourself without having anyone telling you, okay, you need to turn this assignment by this date. I never was like that. I don't need anyone to tell me. When I really decide I want to do something, I can do it by myself. And other people's, a lot of other people, sorry, are like me. So I'd say it's not a question of whether you can draw by yourself or not, but it's what kind of personality are you? You know,
Sure.
will you be better served by going to a school because it provides the structure and the rhythm that I never liked?
No, I understand. And again, it's really here. I'm gonna go to a Pinterest page of your stuff. I was having trouble uh, grabbing art, so you'll forgive me. But I'm gonna do this, and I mean, really, my God, look at these
Well,
images. You know,
that's the thing is that this is really really old. It's like for 6 years old. 6 years ago, like Pinterest keeps showing the stuff that I did like so many years ago. All of this is like 5 or 6 years ago.
oh my God. Well, I mean, really, look at where your art was then, and then go to November and your stuff now. Here, I'm gonna.
It is very different.
Yeah, well, and again, but so lush and lyric and that's what's fascinating, Ilse, because I was watching you compare your stuff to your art to day trippers and what Fabio and Gabrielle are able to do, and again, you're like there. I guess you explained that your stuff is very much calculated on how you compose a panel and what you put into a panel and stuff. And you were saying that it seemed like the brothers were able to just do it so
On
effortlessly.
instinct. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Like
And
they
your
don't.
stuff looks like it's on instinct, and
Really?
I mean
Well,
that in a complimentary way. Truly, yes. So
well, thank you. It's really not. I wish it were a little more. But I'm. Hi, Isaac. Yeah, I'm trying to loosen up, and November was a good step, I think, in that direction. Because I needed to be more in phase with the story and the characters who needed less tightening up.
understood. I want to acknowledge because we lost a great artist this weekend,
Oh yeah.
John Paul Leon, and then I had the pleasure of talking with him at conventions. Never got a chance to actually interview him because I know he'd been sick, for a while, unfortunately. And I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to meet John. Oh, she's
And
frozen. Oh, there we go.
oh, sorry.
You're back. Let's
I
go.
never had the chance to talk to him or even meet him, but I loved his work,
Yeah,
and it's really sad
yeah.
for the art, but mainly for his family and his
Oh,
kids.
yes.
And
Wasn't it great too that Tommy Lee Edwards organized quickly?
yeah, I think they shared
On
a studio.
that makes sense then, and you're right. They did, of course, they did.
Yeah,
And they
and
would,
I
yeah,
noticed something because I didn't know they shared a studio, and I noticed something this morning while I was browsing through some of Jean Paul Leon stuff. They shared something stylistically speaking, the backgrounds, and I noticed that I hadn't noticed before. So yeah, it's really sad.
Well, but I'm really glad that the comic community and the fans responded because Tommy was just trying to set up a very modest funeral cost
Yeah,
campaign, only asking for like $3,000, and the last time I looked, they were around 25,000. So
that's great.
yeah, and beyond the cost of a funeral, I know from my own personal experience in my family when we're dealing with someone that passed away in our family to close all accounts to take care of whatever outstanding just regular bills or
It
whatever
takes
are out
money.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and cleaning out the house and any other expense like that. So that's terrific, everybody that contributed to that, and I'm so glad that happened because yeah, John was a terrific guy as well as an amazing
Yeah,
artist,
it
and
seems so.
yeah, it's great that the love continues and people want to help. That's wonderful. So we have good questions here. Oh, Brian wants to know: was it difficult to turn your home into a fulfillment center for your Kickstarter?
It
I saw the photos.
was. Yeah, it was. Um, Last year we did it, and we had half the backers that we had this year. So we had around 900 backers, and this year we had 1,400
That's
backers.
great. That's great.
And so we thought we did it last year. Why not? It's just a few hundreds more, you know, 1,000 more. And so we did it, and we just finished a couple days ago. And it's like, okay, I am done. Next campaign is going to be we're going to hire a company to handle the fulfilling because it is just. I mean, we're at a point that every second that we're doing the fulfilling, we're not working on our stuff.
Right. No,
So
I
it used to
understand.
make sense financially to do it ourselves. Now it doesn't.
I
It's
understand.
like a week away from the desk. Like if you want to be very pragmatic, it costs a lot of money because you're not actually working. And also, it's Kickstarter has the new offers creators the ability to be able to do add-ons themselves. So we did that. We were, I think, one of the first campaigns to do that. We did the beta thing, and it turns the fulfillment into a logistical nightmare.
Wow.
It was really hard, and the stress, the anxiety of sending the wrong things to people. Oh my god, last time.
I
Which is
understand.
too bad because I love the idea of us, and the family helps. You have peer experience that come, they do the envelopes, and it's fun. I love it, and I wanted to keep doing that for as long as possible. But no,
No,
we have to stop.
no.
I think it's unreasonable.
It's a good problem to have, and that only
Yeah.
shows that the readership has expanded, and that's great. How does crowdfunding work? I mean, is it working well internationally as much as it is here in the States, as far as your observations of others?
Yes, but much like everything, in terms of culture, there is a delay in Europe. Things are starting to really take off here when they started taking off like 5 years ago in the States. So I expect that in the next like 2, 3, 4 years, it's gonna be much bigger here. But yeah, it is. But a lot of people still are not familiar with it at
I
all.
understand. Well, we did get Mohammed wished you, I assume, wished us well. Salute. Yes, Madame said Messieurs. Yeah. Okay, very good. I want to make sure I'm saying it
Hi.
right. Absolutely. And then Dennis wanted to know, first of all, he loves your YouTube channel in November, but he also loved your issue of Department of Truth. Are there any plans to work again with James Tynan or more creator-owned work?
Well, thank you, Dennis. I loved working on James' scripts. It was fantastic. I had, he left me totally free to do what I wanted, and I took advantage of that.
Great.
And in terms of working with him, there are no plans now. I think he keeps launching books after books after books, so his plate is like full. But I do have another creator-owned book that is coming out this year.
Great.
And I'd rather not go into it because I know myself and I'm gonna say something I shouldn't be saying. But yeah, there is a new book. It's an ongoing, and it's an image.
Oh, great. Well, when you are ready to promote it, obviously you'll come back and we'll talk
Thank
more
you.
about it. That's
Yeah, it's
wonderful.
going to be great. I'm really, really excited to be working with this writer, who shall remain nameless, and I've started work on the pages. So this is great. I'm having fun.
That's excellent. That's fantastic. Um, I loved in your conversation with Ed, and Ed actually brought up the same subject with me in terms of writers who are architects and writers who are gardeners. And I love that comparison.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you have a preference? Is it easy to adapt to either style?
The thing is, I think I've only ever worked that I know of with architects. So I really couldn't tell you. Pierrick, who wrote our the Infinite Loop and all of the Star Wars that we did, is definitely an architect.
Okay.
Matt Fraction is too. So, and I don't, I cannot tell you if I would be able to tell the difference.
Okay.
For
I was
example,
wondering.
I would have pegged Ed for Gardner, for example, because his work is so structured and so packed with information. Is so very he uses space and pages very efficiently in terms of giving out plot details and narration. So I would have thought that he planned all of that very meticulously in advance. Turns out he doesn't. So could have fooled me.
I it was James. So, do you think James is also an architect?
I don't know. I couldn't say.
Oh, okay, okay. And you only did the one issue with him.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I'm writing. I want people to know that they can go to your YouTube channel and watch these conversations, and also your own breakdowns of comics. And it's under your name, but I want to make a banner. That's what I'm doing right
Yeah,
now. So if I
it's
look
under my
distracted, that's
name, and
yes,
it's pretty easy to find, I think.
yes,
And so
absolutely.
the last video that so we're doing videos every Friday, which is as hard as it sounds. It's a lot of work, but we're glad to do it. And the last video that we did was an interview with Ed Brubaker, which I have been a huge fan of for years. So I was very glad to have him on. And so we have case studies too, like we talked about earlier, where I take a work of comics and I analyze a page, a panel. So we did that. I have some book clubs where I talk about a favorite book of mine. And we did also, and we are going to keep doing that as well, is what I'm calling the 10-minute layout. And it's a series where I try to adapt a work of fiction into a comic book page. So it is it's such a fun exercise. The first one was the razor scene from Reservoir Dogs, to try and
Wow.
turn it into a comic book page, and that was a huge amount of fun. It was really hard, but I loved it.
That's great. And yeah, I mean, I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. That's for my talk with Dan. Uh, no, everyone can watch your channel again. It's under your name, and do that for the video people. The audio people are. It may sound redundant me talking about this stuff. Here, let's see. Oh, Zach has a question here. Forgive my ignorance if you have said it before, but do you have interest in writing and drawing and create your own book for yourself?
Um, yes, I do. I don't know if I'm capable of doing it. I'd like to think so, but I never did it, so I don't know. So there's that question. And also, I would go into something that is more long form. Definitely not a monthly release, more like a graphic novel format. It would take a long time because if I were to, I'm a fast artist, but I'm a very slow writer.
Okay,
So I
it's
think it would
interesting.
take me as much time to write it than to draw it. So it's not something that I can do for the next few years because I have things planned and there's no way I can do that in addition. But in the future, I think 5, 6 years from now, I think I might want to try something like that.
Well, clearly you're studying all the aspects of comic book making as it is.
I
So
think it's also one of the probably it wasn't conscious at first, but I think I'm realizing now more and more that I'm studying more and more writing because I want to feel ready
sure.
for because I do write, I co-write. When Pierrick and I do books together, I co-write with him, but for now I don't feel comfortable handling a whole book by myself because I never did it. I also need to find the right story, and so far
Sure.
I haven't found anything that really motivated me to start writing.
I understand.
I think I've been blessed with incredible writers so far, and sometimes I'm thinking, do I really want to maybe draw something that is less good? That is the script is less good than I would if I were working with someone else. So I don't feel really ready to make that step.
Good questions here from everybody. Brian wants to know: is it difficult to change between drawing for a graphic novel versus an ongoing? Do you have less time on an ongoing? And answer that, and then I want to expand on that.
First of all, hi Brian. Thank you for showing up always. Thank you. It's not. My pace doesn't change. I tend to draw between 1 and 2 pages a day.
Wow.
Depending on the work. For example, for Department of Truth, I was much slower. I think I did like a page every day and a half. So that was really slow for me. But no, it really, I tend to keep the same pace because I have a way of working that is very dynamic. I tend to get into like a rhythm, and when I'm into that rhythm, that zone, I can work really fast. But some days I'll just be a little out of it, and I will be much slower. I will not be satisfied with what I draw. Luckily, those days are pretty rare. I tend to be like productive. But the format in which I'm drawing, or the books for which I'm drawing, doesn't have any influence on my pace.
I was interested, and especially after talking to Ed, ever since he started the Reckless books, and also yourself and Fraction with the November books, comparing the single issues versus the graphic novels. In the case of November, it was in 4 parts, but they were novellas. They were about 80 pages each or so, right?
60.
Pardon me, 60. But still, certainly bigger than a traditional 20,
Yeah.
25-page comic book. How did the November experiment go in terms of, did it yield the sales and the level of store interest that the two of you had hoped for?
It didn't generate the sales that we had hoped for, honestly, because I think that book is not like entry level. It's not for someone that has never read a graphic novel in their life. It's not for someone that is going to be hardcore into superhero, for example.
Sure.
It's definitely a unique book, a wonderful book. That is
Yes.
the writing in November is like stratospheric. It's absolutely excellent. But it didn't sell as well as we had hoped for. Also, like November Volume 2, 3, and 4 came out during the pandemic.
Right.
When the stores were closed, and the release date keeps being changed, so it was hard to promote it properly.
Sure.
But I think it's a book that is going to stand the test of time, and that will keep selling in the years to come. And I will keep promoting it for the years to come, because I'm very proud of what we have done with it, and the people that have read it love it.
Yes, I'm one of them, and truly, that's interesting that I understand what you're saying in terms of it may not be an entry level book. I would think, because it is more of a traditional mystery and suspense story, that it might, in the right bookstore, might grab the interest of someone who just wants to read a good story. And again, you're being kind about overemphasizing Matt's writing. I mean, really, your art absolutely matched the ambition, I think, of what you guys were trying to do from a story standpoint. But are you going to, when does the four, are you going to collect? I assume you're going to collect it all in one volume.
That was the plan at first, but then we realized, well, first of all, we haven't like sold the independent volumes, so it wouldn't make sense to start like producing more books. And also, I kind of like the volumes as they stand in terms of from a story standpoint. You need that break between the volumes for the structure, and I think that it would work less well as an omnibus or collected edition than it does as single volumes.
Okay.
But maybe in the future, or like a black and white oversized edition. That would make sense for me. Just collecting the books doesn't like make sense for me right now.
No, I understand, and I think as your awareness gets bigger and more readers become aware of your stuff, this is what has happened to Fraction and Bendis and Rick Remender. A lot of their early efforts, after they establish themselves, people go back and they read those earlier things they made.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully. But I really, I was kind of bummed that we didn't get into, and I'm not talking about the art at all, but the writing. My God, I don't understand why the book never like was into any awards, or at least selected for any awards. Because I think that Matt's work on this book is like absolutely incredible. And I'm not just saying that. I'm really hard on writers usually, and not many things appeal to me as much as the script for November did. And I don't understand why it never appeared on, the writing never appeared in any award. I was surprised. I was honestly thinking that it would.
I wish I could tell you and give you a better explanation. I think, again, the fact, as you say, the pandemic certainly hurt the book in a lot of
Probably.
ways.
Yes, I think so. It's all right. I would have loved it for Matt. I personally
understand.
don't like it. It doesn't. It is not important to me, but I would have loved it for him.
I understand. I think people will find it eventually. Here, Ryan asks, he says, I love your Patreon concept of breaking a movie scene down into a comic page. Do you find your brain doing that constantly with other media, like songs or TV or modern events or classical artworks?
Hey, Ryan. Thank you for your question. I hope it never does. I want to be able to enjoy art as a random person rather than systematically having to break down things and understanding them and the motives behind it. That would really be boring. And luckily, I don't have that yet. Pierrick, my partner, for example, so he studied movies and directing, and he can't watch a movie without seeing everything, the lighting, how they did this and that, and the structure and all of that. And I know it ruins some of the fun for him, because the act of suspending the disbelief that you need to do as a viewer to really fully enjoy an experience, you can really never do that 100% when you know what's happening behind the scenes. So I'm glad it doesn't do that for me.
I understand.
I do. When I read a comic book, for example, I will see the flow, and I will notice that why this bit is here and why there's a black shadow there. I will notice it, but luckily it doesn't take me out of the story.
I understand, and you're not the first creator to say that. And I know a lot of creators, both writers and artists, that can enjoy a piece of art, but really are looking at all the strings attached and really do.
I think that would really bum me out if that were the case.
Yeah, no, I understand. What have you watched recently that you've enjoyed? If you had time to watch anything, or
Yeah, I
read
try
anything.
to I try to like stop at night and not work. I have been catching up on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I had started. Like I had watched a couple episodes like 2 years back, and I was like, "What is this show? I don't understand it. I don't like it." So I had like dropped it completely, and then I was seeing so many people enjoying it, and they are now in their like 17th season or
Isn't
something
that
like that.
crazy?
I was like,
Yeah.
I must be missing something. I'm the problem. So we went back to it and starting watching like many episodes to get into it. And once you understand the humor, once you understand the characters, because they are not likable,
Not at all.
it really is such a great show. So we binge that every night.
That's great.
And in
Very
terms of
simplistic.
movies, it's been a while since I watched a movie. I think I watched half of Fellini
Oh wow.
like a month.
What?
Yeah. What was the name of that one? It's a movie where the dinner guests can't come out of the room because it's, I don't know, it was so interesting and so unique in terms of structure, and I loved it, and but work kept piling on, and I dropped it. So I need to
Okay.
watch the other half of that Fellini.
I understand. That's great. They just on Turner Classic Movies, which is the old Hollywood channel here in the States.
Oh,
They spent a month on all the Oscar movies that are either nominated or won, and they do for 31 days, an entire month. They do Oscar films.
oh, that's
That,
great.
that was a lot of fun. Sorry, someone calling. But yeah, it was really fun, and I love old movies. I adore old movies. One of my favorites is a British film, The Third Man, the Orson Welles film that he stars in, and it's all
Oh,
about the occupation of Vienna after World War II.
I haven't
And
seen that one.
I love it. Well, my father was in the army for the occupation. He didn't fight in World War II, but it like immediately after was sent to Vienna for the police of
Yeah.
controlling Germany after the
Mm.
war, and he was an MP going after black marketeers, and that's really the plot of the movie. Is the yeah? So my dad's like, yeah. Do you want to watch what I did in the army? I'm like, yes.
That
And
is
we sat
great.
down. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So that's like one of my favorite '40s films. I just adore it, and I just love. And I gravitate to a lot of European crime, television and film when I'm able to see it, and I really do appreciate those because I love hearing the differences between American police and French police and British police and Interpol and all the politics that are involved in European crime versus just straight up American crime.
Yeah, it's something that I've noticed, and I try to be aware of that and change that bad habit that consists in only watching movies that were made in the US. Even if it's a movie from the 40s or the 50s, still it's an American movie, and it's a way of making films that is specific to the States, and that has kind of taken over the entire way that we see movies. But there are many different ways of making movies and many different cultural influences that it's it's a bit too bad to not connect with, not interact with. So I try to like watch movies that are not English speaking, and I don't have enough time for that, but I try.
No, and boy, that's good to hear because I'm the same way. You've got to be in the right frame of mind to watch a foreign, for me, a foreign
Yeah.
film, and especially when it is in another language and you're reading the subtitles, and you just have to be in that right frame of concentration.
Yeah, I
So,
I subscribe to we have I think it's kind of somehow linked to the organism in France that helps producing films, French films. So they have a platform that online that you can subscribe to. It's really like $2 a month. It's really €2 a month. It's really not expensive. And you have a selection of 10 movies each month that you can watch for free for €2.
Right.
And it's from all over, from all time periods. So I've been doing that for a while, and I would love to be able to watch all of them. But even, some of them, like, kind of making me aware of the different things that I'm missing out on by only watching American TV and movies. And
Sure. No, I understand. Absolutely. Mohammed had a great question. Here, I'm going to find it. Here it is. He wanted to know, do you think you'd prefer making a bandé, and forgive me, is it dessin or dessin? Dessin?
Bande dessinée.
Thank you. Very good. Where you're drawing bigger and spending more time on a page.
That's a good question. I used to think that more time can only be better. Turns out I'm not so sure for me, because I am sure to overthink everything. So I will be slower in doing the exact same thing. It will probably lack energy because I will be slower. And the times in the past where I had a little more time to do some pages, where I was like, okay, I'm going to do this like European style. I'm going to do this slower and take my time and take a step back and really try to make it perfect. First of all, it's never better in the end. And I'm frustrated because I spent so long on a page that is ultimately not better.
I understand. I have an American football player friend of mine who his favorite phrase is "analysis leads to paralysis." And does that translate? Is it, yeah?
Yes.
I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, and it's so true. God, Mike Mignola has confessed to me in interviews that he's gotten slower because he's more concerned about every line in a way that he wasn't when he was getting started. Again, it's fascinating hearing that. But yeah, I can appreciate that. Definitely. It's, honestly, Ilsa, it's one of the reasons why I don't do much editing, if any, in a lot of my conversations. I think from coming from live broadcasting, I like the spontaneity and even the pauses where someone is clearly thinking about a question and trying to come up with, the right answer, or may start a phrase and then go back. And I think to me, it's just as fascinating watching us kind of struggle with an idea. So
usually I'm struggling with my English. I'm thinking of the right word.
You're doing great. Ilsa, I could not do. I say this all the time to my friends that are Europeans or South Americans or others of other languages, to be able to convey complex ideas in a second language. Well done.
It's frustrating sometimes when I talk live, because when I'm writing something or when I'm writing the YouTube videos, I can like really pause, but when you have to speak and it's like instantly you have to come up with the right concept, I feel sometimes limited. Like I could have said that better, but I'll hopefully I will get better and better.
I think you do great, and I truly I'm pleased that you're always willing to do that. So, here Ramsey has a question. He also comes from a theater background. The way you break down the storytelling of a page reminds me of how an actor breaks down a scene and role. How is your acting fed into your comics? That's a great question.
It's a great question. How it has, I think that whether we're talking of a scene from a script or like a theater or a play, sorry.
Sure.
Or a comic book page, I am structured and I like the comfort of being able to break things down. Because that, I don't know, I feel like I have helps along the way. I'm not like free flowing. So part of it is just probably my personality. And when I used to be an actress, I broke down like ad nausea because I was so uncomfortable with what I was doing that I needed like to overthink everything and kind of do the work that I do for storytelling, but for my characters, which I don't think I needed to that much, but it just felt easier for me. But in terms of how my acting background has informed my work as an artist, it has for everything related to character, everything related to gesture, to facial expressions, all of that is something that I am interested in naturally. And I also have maybe additional keys to breaking down an emotion, and so translated it into a drawing. So thankfully, all those years were not lost completely, totally lost. I kept some of the notions that I learned when I was an actress.
I understand. And also, I think it's important to have that level of deeper subtext in your acting as you're waiting for your line to happen, because it informs what you're about to say, and you need to react as much as act. So as someone else is speaking, you can't just, sit there, and wait for your moment and stuff. You have to be invested in the moment that you're trying to create, even in a nonverbal way. So I kind of, and I'm sure that bleeds into the way you draw characters who maybe aren't speaking in a specific panel.
Acting, when you're on stage and you're not doing, there is nothing, you're never not doing something. Even if you're sitting on a chair and waiting, or if you just drinking a glass of water, you are doing something. So same in a comic, you can't have a character in a panel that is seemingly not doing anything and having them like empty. No.
Yes.
There are
Yes.
people, and they came. There was a moment before. There is a moment after, and so it's your responsibility to keep that continuity of the character.
Agreed. Okay. First of all, Jimmy, another YouTuber, his family's from French Canada. He's the only one who doesn't speak French, and Ilsa is making me feel that shame. That's hilarious.
Thank you. But
I
I learned English by watching movies and TV shows for years and years.
Wow.
That's it. So if you want a better French, just watch French stuff.
That's great. Absolutely.
I never school here for language is terrible. Not like in the northern countries in Europe, Sweden and all the Scandinavian countries, the kids speak English from a very young age. Here in France, no one speaks English, like really, unless you have a specific need for it. No one speaks English. So my school level of English was really bad. I just watched lots of stuff and I picked on it over the years.
But that's better, because that's really more natural, instead of just where is the library and
For example, I could not explain why these words need to be like at this specific tense. I don't know why. It just needs to be that way. And
Okay.
I'm not immune to mistakes. I make a lot of them, as you can probably notice. But I can make myself understand. Here you go. Now I can speak English anymore. People can understand me when I speak, and that's, I don't need much more than that.
It's, again, I think you're doing fantastic. Henry wants to know, and again, I didn't ask you, but if you have anything that you could show us of any art that you're currently working on that wouldn't spoil. I think that's the key.
Well, I don't have anything in here because I'm in the living room, and
I
my
understand.
studio is all the way over there.
That's all right, buddy. No.
And also anything that I might have right now, I can't show.
I understand.
I'm sorry, I would have. I have my art book next to me, but
There you
that's
go.
all I have.
Absolutely. Is that sans serif from your spirit? the I know that that's just a beautiful woman, but it looks
The
like
yes, the character, yes, that's from the commission. I have a very high res scanner that scans like super high resolution, so I can make a cover that is really crisp out of a drawing that is that small.
I have to ask you. I'm sure you're, or maybe you're not. I don't know what level of awareness you have mentioning high res. The NFTs that
Oh.
artists are not. Yeah, what do you think of all that? If you
Oh.
have, I am. That's a relief, really, Elsa, because for the longest time I couldn't wrap my head around it, and it really
I
only
haven't, you know, I haven't really tried to wrap my head around it. I've got no time for all of this. I think that it seems to be terrible for the environment, so that is
Yes.
definitely not a plus. So from the get-go, I would say, no, this is nuts. Environmentally speaking,
Yeah,
it is nuts. Beyond that, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that you shouldn't do it. It's up to you, really.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm not interested in it as an artist. That's for sure.
Okay. No, and honestly, I've been asking people in the last month or so since it's become part of the conversation, and it wasn't only. It was only this week. Do you know about Clubhouse? I don't know if that's in France.
No.
It's a platform. It's a private conference platform, audio only, where people get together to share tips and networking on everything. Musicians use it, filmmakers use it, comic creators use it, podcasters use it, millions of applications. It's still in the beta testing mode. And I stumbled on a room with a bunch of well-known artists discussing NFTs. And there were several in there that could explain the advantages and then the things about like the environment and the whole cryptocurrency component to it. And it finally kind of clicked in and made sense.
Oh.
But yeah, my God, I was just like, I get it. But also I just love when I have, the art right there. Those are two Spider-Man comic strips that Stan Lee wrote, and his brother Larry drew the pencils, and my friend Alex Saviek finished the inking on. But I mean, if I want to buy art, I like to buy art and buy it physically.
Yeah. To me, some of it feels like, and I think I tweeted something like that it's the latest get rich quick scheme. Everyone wants in on it because there's supposedly like millions to make. Maybe for some people.
Yeah.
So really, I don't know. It's just I haven't like really gotten to like understand it. So it's hard to have an opinion that is valid.
Understood. No, and then also, God, after buying songs on albums and 45s and CDs, but now I'm very comfortable downloading a digital piece of music.
Yeah, you don't want to be an old fart and like, oh, I liked my thing just like when I was young. You want to evolve with your time. So maybe this is where art is going. I know I will probably be one of those people who will resist until I've got no choice.
Jimmy wants to know if you are friends with Stephanie Hans, another French artist. She's working on Kieran Gilliam's Diamond.
I know Stephanie. Yes,
Oh, cool.
I do. Yeah, like you said, there are not many artists or comic book artists in France, so we kind of know each other. There must be like a dozen of us.
Okay.
So yeah, I know Stephanie. I love her work. I think I went with her to my second Comic-Con, and we had an Airbnb together. She was an example to me because it was when I was starting out and I didn't have any money. Not many people were stopping at my table, and she has like wads of cash from original art that she would be selling in New York Comic Con. I was like, I want to grow up like her.
Sure.
And yeah, she's been so incredibly successful with her book Die with Kieran, which she had been talking about and wanting to do for a long, long time. So I'm glad they finally got around to doing it.
That's cool. Jimmy says he had an interview with Stephanie and he fell in love with her. Stephanie,
She's great.
That's great. That's terrific. Are you, first of all, have you had your vaccines? Are you?
So let me tell you something about the vaccines here.
Please, yes.
We are like 3 months behind you in terms of vaccination. Yeah, right now I think it's just the people over 55 that can get it. I think we're like a couple months at best away from getting it, which is too bad because I can't wait to be vaccinated and being back to like seeing my friends and my family. And we haven't been able to see anyone without masks since the beginning.
Yes. Where it was Greek Easter yesterday. I'm Greek. And my family was able to get together because
that's great. Oh, you had your second shot, right?
I did. Yes.
Were you knocked down a bit?
A little. Just tired. So I could still get through the day, but I was worried. So I pre-recorded a bunch of word balloon interviews from last Saturday till Wednesday, and I got my shot on Thursday. And really, Thursday night and Friday, I'm glad I didn't schedule any work.
Yeah, I think it was safer that way. And I know some people that got wiped out, like sick, like a real flu.
Oh yeah, me too. And I had Pfizer. I didn't have Moderna, and apparently it's the Moderna.
Oh really?
But I know again, I still had a little bit of a side effect from the Pfizer one.
It's what vaccines will do. I mean,
Right,
when you take your cat or your pet vaccinated, they're like dead for 2 days.
No, you're absolutely right. 100%, man.
When we're
totally
kids,
true.
we don't remember how it feels, but it must have felt bad too.
You're right. Oh my God, and it's true. I was thinking about when I was small and would get my measles shots or some of the other diseases when you were a little kid and they give you your shots. Here, Greg wants to thank you for drawing his Jonah Hex request during your con at home this fall. It's been his home screen ever since.
Oh,
so that's really nice.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, well, that means a lot. Thank you. So we did that con at home, which was an event that we held as a stretch goal for the Kickstarter campaign. We wanted to do something nice. It was kind of the midway through the pandemic and people were feeling down that they didn't have any conventions to go to. So we did the 2-day live event. And so I did sketches during the live event. And one thing you need to know is that I am terrible at drawing when I'm being observed. And on top of that, if I need to talk, it is terrible. And so I was doing those terrible sketches live and I was like, oh my God, this is the most embarrassing thing I have ever lived through. And so after it, I started the sketches all over again and I sent them out as screensavers for people who wanted them.
That's lovely. That's fantastic. No, I understand. I can't think and draw at the same time when I try to draw, and I'm terrible. But I have enough artist friends that when we get together, they'll be like, come on, draw, or at least color something. So I'd bring coloring books and I would color. But Franco, Vart and Franco, who do Tiny Titans for DC, he has a weekly podcast and his guests always draw. And he's like, come on, you got to draw. So I learned how to do a very simple, God, I wish I had it to show you. I've embarrassed myself and put it on screen. But I broke down Popeye looking straight ahead.
Oh.
And I realized the shape of his head is like an 8. So that helped. And then I really did just kind of break down every section of his face and like, okay, his nose looks like this.
Which is what you do when you learn how to draw.
Yeah, so it was, at least people knew right away that it was Popeye. To me, it looked like if a school child were trying to draw. But it, again, I was pleased with it, so it worked out. So yeah, that's all right. Oh God, and you see, Brian says those live sketches were masterpieces. Very nice.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks you so much. I
It
was, yeah, it was tough. That con at home was really tough. And so I want to give a shout out to Pierrick again because he basically directed a TV show because he had made multiple cameras and he was on the computer and he was like switching cameras for to show the best shot and all of
Sure.
that and all of that live.
wow.
And it was the first time that he had done something like that. And I was like, he's incredible. He's so tech savvy. It makes me nauseous that I'm not like that. And he's so like that.
Well, truly, your videos show his strength as a video production, a director and producer.
You know,
They're beautiful. They really are.
I tend to be, I can be a little bit sloppy. I'm not as
Perfectionist. Yeah. No, you're
perfectionist
right. You got it.
as he is, and it's good that I have him, as a second set of eyes to tell me this doesn't work. He will always be nice about it, but and this is not, and the format is wrong, and because I, after so many years, I keep drawing and inking on the wrong templates, and I don't know why I keep messing it up. And thankfully, he's here to like, no, this is wrong, this is the right size, and all of that. Yeah, there would be no art books without him.
Would you do the con at home? That was a stretch goal for your
Yeah.
Kickstarter patrons. Would you put it out on your channel? The after the fact now? I don't know. What would you
I
get
think
started?
it was not public, but it was for people who had the link.
Yes. Would you
I
make
don't
it
think
public?
so.
No?
I don't think so. I think it was nice. It was an event that was exclusive to Kickstarter backers
Sure.
to thank them for their support. We might do a similar thing public in the fall because
That's great.
it's unlikely that I'm going to do any shows in the States this year. So it's going to be another year without seeing everyone. So we might do something like that.
Oh, I assume Greg says that. I'm assuming he means Tom King. The Tom King
Yeah.
interview at home was lots of fun with Tom in mind. Who's currently on your bucket list of if you, without spoiling who you might already have plans with, and we don't want you to announce something you're not ready to announce. But yeah, do you have a list of writers that you'd like to collaborate with?
Well, Ed Brubaker.
Of course.
And he kind of spoiled it during the interview. He said, "Oh, this is the outline of the thing that I wrote for you." So we kind of missed each other because I had reached out to him for like to do a book together, and he was like, "I have no time right now." So I moved on to someone else, and so I found the writer that I'm working with right now. And so like a few weeks after that, Ed came back, "Oh, I've got a thing for you." I was like, well, now I'm booked, so I can't do it. So definitely Ed at some point down the line.
Good.
It will probably be a couple of years because if the ongoing goes as well as I hope it will be probably a couple of years. I want to work with Matt again. The first chance that I get.
It was
because
great.
it was so much fun. And I grieved for November. I really did. For like 2 months after we were finished with the book, I was sad.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that I felt it that strongly. I still miss the characters. I miss working with him. I miss his writing. He's a great collaborator. So definitely Matt. And another writer that I would work. Oh gosh, the other one I can't tell because it's the one that I'm working with right now.
Okay.
Let me see. Neil Gaiman.
Of
I
course.
would love to work with.
Oh,
Gaiman.
that'd be great. Truly, I
I
think
love his novels, his comics too, but I love his novels so much.
Oh yeah.
Many writers. Kieran would be fantastic to draw his words.
That'd be cool. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, Brian wants to know what it was like working with Zdarsky on the mini comic.
Chip is so much Chip that I can't tell you how much Chip he is. He was like, okay, so this is what I have in mind, but you're the artist, you know better. Just feel free to ignore whatever I'm saying. Do your thing. You're wonderful. Every panel was that, so that was really nice. He's so sweet and he's so funny.
Very funny.
And the story that we did together was heartfelt. It's really moving and kind of bittersweet. So that aspect of his writing, I would love to do something long form. So he's another writer that I'd love to work with on a comic.
I totally hear you. I much like yourself, Matt introduced me to Chip, and much like yourself, I love meeting these people and getting to know them a little better with not only by observing their work, but also having these conversations. So I'm always indebted to Matt and Kelly Sue, to the people they introduced me to in the comics world that I wouldn't have known about if they hadn't done it.
Yeah, and the whole gang and Chip, and they're so nice. They're really like genuinely nice people who want to help creators that are coming up, and they're willing to go come with me on my silly adventures and the silly things that I asked him to do, and there was like, yes, heck, I'll do it.
That's
so
great.
yeah, I couldn't do any of it. And during the Con at Home, we had Declan to Chalvet, who
Love
was
Declan.
really like very, very sweet. He came on for an interview, and we did something together in the art book where we took a page of Sheriff Babylon, and we each of us, without looking at the actual page, at Garrett's page,
Yes.
we redraw it from the script. So again, Declan is so sweet for having done that. So I'm very humbled and grateful that each of them is willing to participate in my silly things.
I understand. I look forward to when things finally do calm down. It may take another year or so that we can travel freely again and see each other. And I can't wait for you to come back to the States. But also, prior to the pandemic, I was invited to Ireland for a convention.
Ah,
And they're like, well, the offer still stands when things get normal again. It might, take a while. So yeah, I look forward to going to one of the Irish shows.
me too.
So-
Oh, I want to go to Ireland. It's on my list.
Absolutely. Well, and I really want to, especially I've only been doing the podcast for 15 years now. Actually, my
Has it
My
been that
six-
long? Wow.
16th anniversary is on the 10th of this month.
Congratulations for
Thank you.
such an incredible achievement.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, it's a passion project for me, and I when I went to Europe, it was 21 years ago, 2000, last time I've been to Europe, and now that I have gotten to know so many comic book creators, I would like to go to Angoulême, and I'd like to go to
Yes.
Lucca, and I'd like to go to Thought Bubble.
If you ever come to the south of France, you have a place to stay.
Oh, you're lovely, sweetie. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's very nice. That's very, very nice. Well, I may take you up on that. That's terrific. But Elsa, as always, lovely conversation.
Thank
And
you.
what can you is there something coming that you want to announce beyond? Obviously, every Friday we have new YouTube videos on
The book that I'm working on is not going to be announced for at least another 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
So there's nothing to do for that.
Okay.
But yes, the YouTube channel is being updated every Friday, and if you love the content and feel like you'd like to support us, we have a Patreon that is allowing you to pitch in.
And is it patreon.com/Elsa?
Yes, yeah. I
Okay.
have the link on my Twitter, and from the YouTube channel in the description box, there are different links. And also for those of you who may be interested in my art book, the second one, it's finally out now. We've just finished the fulfillment, so it's on my store and it's available.
That's great. And yeah, people are excited. In fact, Greg says if that sheriff stuff is in the art book, it can't arrive soon enough.
Yes, yes, it's coming. I swear it's coming.
That's awesome. Well, as always, Ilsa, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm glad you reached out to talk about your YouTube channel and the art book and everything that's going on right now. So please come back in a couple months, and we'll talk about the new project.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me again, John. It's always a very, very nice conversation. It's nice to spend time with you online.
That means a lot. Thank you very much. Later tonight, Ilsa will be asleep, but I for my
Yes.
West Coast friends, I'll be talking to Steve Lieber. Another
Oh,
conversation,
that's
yeah.
a conversation I'll be watching after.
Well, tomorrow it will be posted, so that'll be
Another
good.
good one, Steve Bieber. He's very sweet.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, he's truly. And before the pandemic, for yourself and also the viewers, I got to spend a week in Portland for Rose City, and I visited with Matt and Kelly Sue and Bendis and every Baraka and Jen Van Meter, and yeah, I spent a day at Steve's studio with him and Jeff Parker as well. And
Yeah.
and yeah, it was a great time. We hung out and we laughed all day. And my intent was to do interviews, but we were having such a good time just being
Yeah.
casual. I'm like, yeah, let's just hang out. This is fine.
It's I sometimes I despair to be so far away.
I feel the same. Ilsa, if I could move independently to any state in the country, I would move to Oregon and move to Portland because I literally have like 24 friends there
Yeah.
that when I see them at conventions, we absolutely, make time just to be casual with each
Yeah.
other. And as I always say, it's like in my mind, it would be great if we all lived on the same street and just
Can you
could, like,
imagine that? Oh my god. We would get sick of each other real fast though.
I understand. Well, as always,
All right.
it was great. It was great visiting. Thank you for your time, and
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye.
check-
And thanks everyone for the questions.
Absolutely, and check out Elsa's YouTube channel if you're not doing it already. It's incredible.